Hey folks, Mark here, doing my first YouTube video. I've posted on Facebook a few times to the BC. Love watching your videos, love seeing you show really cool records. Doing a video response to Brett, Life on This Planet blog's Brilliant B-Sides thread. Figured that was a good place to make my first video because I'm all about B-sides and non-album tracks and that type of thing. Just opened up my singles last week and I moved into a new place up here in Cleveland from Dallas, so I just unpacked all my singles. So as I was unpacking them, I was going through them, and I focused on 7-inch singles. I didn't go for 12-inch singles because that's just a whole nother can of worms there. But I went through the 7 inches that I chose specifically for the B-side. So every time I reach for these, in the past and now, I reach for them because of the B-side. So without further ado, this is my favorite B-sides of all time. Well, at least on 7-inch that I could find immediately. The English Beat. By the way, most of these are going to be of the new wave indie alternative variety because that's typically what I'm into. Too Nice to Talk To by the English Beat, 45 they put out in 1980. B-side is one of my favorites called Psychedelic Rockers. It's exactly like that. It's kind of dubby, kind of psychedelic, but also kind of ska-ish. It's a little bit of all of that. It's just one of their better tracks, I think, in a brilliant B-side. Psychedelic Rockers, the English Beat, or the Beat, or in the UK. Smiths, This Charming Man, 45. Its flip side was called Gene. Of course, on the 12-inch, you didn't get Gene. You got Wonderful Woman and Accept Yourself. Two equally awesome songs. But the 7-inch had an exclusive B-side, and Gene is one of my favorite tracks. There's a great version of this done as well by Sandy Shaw with the other members of the Smiths. She did a version of Gene that was good. Non-album track here, it's not a B-side, but it's a non-album track by Soft Cell, A Man Can Get Lost. This was a single they put out on Sun Bazaar in 1981, and an instrumental version of this song turned up on the Non-Stop Ecstatic Dancing EP. And strangely, the 12-inch version of this is its B-side as the A-side, Memorabilia. As you see on the 7-inch, Memorabilia is the B-side. If you buy the 12-inch, it's the A-side, and it's longer on the 12-inch. Talk Talk, Such a Shame, 45. Its B-side is Again, 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 one of their best songs in my opinion. I really like the It's My Life album, and this track easily could have been on there. In the US, it was on the It's My Life 45, but in the UK, it's on the Such a Shame single. Again, 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 Talk Talk, great song. Teardrop Explodes, first single, Sleeping Gas. Its B-side, Camera, Camera, one of 2 flip sides it had. Great track, I think prime Teardrop Explodes, heavy on the Hammond organ, just a really good track. I don't know if it's a Hammond organ, but it sounds kind of like it. It's Farfisa, perhaps. Not real good with my keyboard terminology. Tones on Tail, single for actually Burning Skies. I'm choosing this because of its B-side, Okay, This Is the Pops. Later compiled on an eponymous titled LP, which compiled 3 earlier singles, this being one of them. Okay, This Is the Pops by Tones on Tail. Great track. The Vapors, you probably know them from, excuse me while I get a glass of water here. The Vapors, you probably know them for turning Japanese. They put out several other great singles, this being one of them. The single was called Prisoners, but its B-side was 2 minutes of prime power pop called Sunstroke. If you can dig this up, and I think it's been reissued on CD. Sunstroke by the Vapors, great B-side, unreleased, at the time at least. U2, I know earlier I think Brett had shown the Touch B-side, which was on the back of 11 O'Clock TikTok. I'm going to choose Spanish Eyes from the B-side if I still haven't found what I'm looking for. One of the 2 B-sides on it. I think if you want to hear a really good vocal from Bono Vox, he truly lives up to his name on that track, Spanish Eyes. Really, really passionate performance he gives on that. Bad Gadget, early Mute signing. As a matter of fact, one of the first Mute signings. This is a single called Make Room, but its B-side, Lady Shave, still gives me the chills. It's just an intense piece of brooding early minimal synth. It's a great track. You can get it on his singles collection, Frank Tovey and Bad Gadget singles collection. But the track in question, Lady Shave, find it. It's really, really good. Susie and the Banshees, Christine, 45. Its flip was called Eve White, Eve Black, and it wins high marks for me just for her scream alone on the back. So find the track Eve White, Eve Black. It's on the Downside Up B-Sides collection, And wait till Susie lets out that howl. It is priceless. Love it. Bill Nelson, former Bebop Deluxe guy. Bill Nelson released a single on his own Cocteau label called Do You Dream in Color? One of its 3 B-sides, and it's 3 really good B-sides, by the way. One of them is called Instantly Yours, and it's the best track XTC never did. I love it. Bill Nelson, Instantly Yours. I think it turned up on his collection, The Twofold Aspect of Everything. You can look for that. The Police, Don't Stand So Close to Me single. Its B-side, A Sermon. Again, strangely power pop for the Police, especially considering how kind of laid back they were at the time of this. A Sermon by the Police, a surprisingly good, up-tempo, spiky, power poppy B-side. Not really what you'd expect from the Police. Psychedelic Furs, Pretty in Pink 45, the UK version, had a version of the classic Mac the Knife, which sounds nothing like the Bobby Darin version. It's definitely Wall of Sound, Psychedelic Furs version. It's pretty terrific. Find it, Mac the Knife, Psychedelic Furs. Reflex, The Politics of Dancing. Most of you know that from your retro flashback cafe shows, radio shows, whatever you'll hear this on. Its B-side, however, was not on the album. It was called Flex It. You can see it right there. Flex It. Great track. I liked it better than Politics of Dancing, and if I had a dance club, a retro night at a dance club, I might slip this on there and see if anybody notices. The Cure, B-side to their Charlotte Sometimes 45, is Splintered in Her Head. And I think it is one of their best tracks. The Cure, in my opinion, at their most psychedelic. It sounds really otherworldly and almost like your worst nightmare. I think it's pretty brilliant, actually. It's on the Join the Dots box set as well. Splintered in Her Head. Great title, too. Killing Joke, Nervous System, one of their first singles. And its B-side is Turn to Red. Great track. Very dubby, very post-punk. 1979, prime Killing Joke. The influence of bassist Youth is all over this. If you know anything about Youth's solo work, you know he's pretty brilliant, and all he knows is dub. And strangely, this 45, speaking of dub, was on the Island label. And it's the only release by Killing Joke that I know of that ever came out on the Island label, of course with their own Malicious Damage imprint. Killing Joke, Turn to Red, find it. The Jam, Absolute Beginners 45, its B-side, Tales from the Riverbank. I don't know that you can see it with all the glare here, but Tales from the Riverbank, terrific track. A little more mellow for the Jam, but I think it's one of their best songs, and they tucked it away on the back of this brilliant single, Absolute Beginners. So, yep. I'm Your Money by Heaven 17, single they released, I think, back in 1981. Its B-side is a cover of The Buzzcocks Are Everything, and it's brilliant. I actually knew this before the Buzzcocks track, but I love it. I go back to it often. It's got a great drum machine track in the background on it. Human League, speaking of Heaven 17, they were members of the Human League at the time they recorded this single, the Holiday 80 Double Pack 45 that came out in 1980, obviously. And it had they call this one a C-side. A track that came on the bonus single is called Mary Ann, and it's since been released on the Travelogue album reissue on CD. And if you don't have Travelogue, you need it. It's brilliant. But Mary Ann is a track that's so good, I have to wonder why they tucked it away on an extra freebie single. Go figure. Here's one little that's not like the others. Jackie Blue, the 45 from Ozark Mountain Daredevils from the early to mid-70s. Its B-side, Better Days. Just a very catchy track with a lot of harmonica in it and just a melody to die for. If you can find it, Better Days by the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. And if you can see, this is a Spanish pressing, and it's called Mejores Dias. Find that one. The Comset Angels, another C-side. Bonus single that came with this double pack 45 of Do the Empty House was a re-recording of their first single. The first single they put out was called Red Planet, and the extra single here is a one-sided 45 with a reworking of that first single called Red Planet Revisited. And it's from 1981, but certainly foreshadows the sort of Mary Chain Wall of Feedback kind of sound. You got to wonder if the Reed brothers had a copy of this sitting in their collection. Really great track. It's very ahead of its time. If you can find it, Red Planet Revisited. Make sure you find that revisited version. Just a few more to go. China Crisis, First two albums I love, early 80s synth stuff, very kind of smooth and pastoral. And I thought their B-sides were especially good. This is one of their singles called Christian that came from their first album. Its B-side, well, had two. One was an instrumental. They did great instrumentals, by the way. But the track in question here is Greenacre Bay, if you can find that. Just gorgeous. It's got oboe, acoustic guitars, warm synthesizers going on. It's just a very dreamy, just a great song. I think it's one of their best. Greenacre Bay, China Crisis. Gary Numan, White Boys and Heroes single. Its B-side was called War Games, which is a reworking, kind of a rewrite of a track on the I Assassin album, of which this song comes from. The song it's kind of a reworking of is called War Songs. So on here it's War Games, and I think it rivals the track on the album. It's pretty brilliant. And it's been since reissued, I think, on the I Assassin reissue CD. War Games by Gary Numan. Four more here. 10cc, I'm Not in Love from 1975. Great song. Had this since I was a kid. And its B-side is especially good, Channel Swimmer. Really, really nice piece of music. It's just a really good, catchy song. Sounds very timeless, actually. It almost sounds like it could have been recorded in the last couple years. I think it's brilliant, even still. Channel Swimmer by 10cc. Echo and the Bunnymen, A Promise 45. Its B-side, Broke My Neck, is one of two B-sides on here. Shorter version on here. On the 12-inch, you get a longer, extended version. And for Echo and the Bunnymen, it's pretty dark and brooding. It's from the Heaven Up Here era, as most of you probably know. And you can get it on the Crystal Days box set. I'm not sure if they have the longer or shorter version on that, but it's since been issued on that. And I believe on the Heaven Up Here CD reissue as well. And two more. Everything But the Girl, Love Is Here Where I Live. Its B-side is something that even if I'm in a terrible mood, it can put me in a good mood. Living on Honeycomb is the B-side, and it's been issued at some point on CD. Find it if you can. It might be up on YouTube. It's just a really nice piece of music. It's about 2.5 minutes long. It's not that long. And it was one of the tracks that made me fall in love with Tracy Thorn and Ben Watt. Great song, Living on Honeycomb. And last but not least, a track that I first heard the Church do live, one of my favorite groups, the Church. This is their single to Almost With You. And its B-side, Life Speeds Up. I think one of their best songs, and they tucked it away on the back of here. It's, again, since been reissued numerous times on many CDs. It's one of those songs that goes along nicely, and then about 4 minutes in, something happens, and it goes supernova and just becomes the best song that I could think that the Church could possibly do. They've since done equally great stuff, but this single is incredible. Life Speeds Up. Go find that song. Anyway, we've hit about 13 minutes now, so I think it's time for me to wrap it up. I did get a couple things in the mail today. I'm going to just show you a couple things real fast. Wooden Tops, new triple CD set. It's called Remasters, Remixes, and Rarities, 82 to 92. Includes almost everything. I looked and there's a couple B-sides they've left off, but it's a triple disc set. Pretty nice. Got that OMD set from English Electric. It's real nice. It's got a really good package. It's got a little sponge. Comes in a tin can. It's got a little spongy piece on here. Comes with some postcards, which I believe Andy and Paul signed. I can make out those signatures. Some various postcards it came with. Then it came with a 7-inch on blue vinyl. And it has a B-side called Frontline. The 7-inch is called Our System. Comes with a booklet. And there, if you can see that. And then it comes with, in a nice package, with the album, a CD of demos, and also a DVD, which has kind of a making of. It's a great little package there. And then last but not least, I got the Scared to Be Happy box set. Look this up on Amazon if you're not aware of it. It's the story of indie pop, 1980 to 1989, and it's pretty fantastic. Everything from the Wild Swans to Primal Scream, to the Boo Radleys, to Aztec Camera. It's everything I love. So, Scared to Get Happy, look for that. It's pretty good stuff. 5-disc set. So, yeah. Anyway, talk to you guys soon.